Okay, you should have your textbook, your notebook, okay, and also the stationery. Okay, now, last lessons, we go to chapter 2, we discuss about molecules of life, okay. We have different molecules in living things. And then we have introduced different terms last time. Like this one. Now our bodies contains a lot of constituents. The constituents get similar meanings as substances, okay? Substances. And actually they are molecules. Molecules. And then just give you a short revisions, okay? We call them organic because it contains carbon, right? Contain carbons. Okay, inorganic, that means there is no carbon, no carbons. And there are 4 major elements in your bodies. Actually, you have highlighted all these last time. Okay, I just give you a summary. The 4 major elements are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, okay? And then among all these chemical constituents, they are chemical constituents. You have to learn all of them. And last lessons, we have complete water. Today, I'm going to introduce another one to you, carbohydrate. Carbohydrate, okay? And then a carbohydrate is more complex than water. For the water, you just know that water, H2O, that's all, okay? And then you know 5 major functions of water. Okay, now carbohydrates, you need to know more. Let me summarize them first. Now in the carbohydrates, you have to know what elements making the carbohydrates, okay? And then there are many types of carbohydrates. You see plural form S. So there are actually many types and examples. You have to memorize all these details, okay? And being a carbohydrate, there are some features, some characteristics. Okay, later you will know what characteristic refer to. And then chemical reactions. In waters, we know that photosynthesis is a chemical reactions. Today, I'm going to introduce you 2 more chemical reactions, okay? Of course, you know 5 major functions of water. Here, you have to know the functions of different carbohydrates. And one thing new to you, you have to test different types of carbohydrates, okay? What seems so much content? Okay, don't worry. Okay, I explain to you one by one. Now, first of all, I want to explain the element first. Element. Carbohydrates. Carbo. Please type in the chat box. Type in the chat box. What elements is it coming from? Okay. Carbo should come from which element? Please type it in the chat box. Now, there are 4 major elements in your body. Carbo should refer to no one knows? Okay, you see the word carbo. Carbo. Oh, maybe I ask some of you to answer. Lao Sai Yin, you see the word carbo. Should it comes from carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, or nitrogen? Which one?
Carbon.
Carbon, thank you, okay. Now, it comes from carbon, and please bear that in mind. This is carbo. Many of you spell it wrongly. They will add the letter N behind it because carbon with the letter N. Okay, please bear that in mind. If you add this, if you add the next part to it, then there should be no N. Okay. Now, hydrate refer to water. So that's why the Chinese term of this word is called 碳水化合物. Okay, should refer to water. How come there is water? It's because of the element, the ratio of elements. Water, H2O, right? And over here, we don't write any letters. That means there is 1. So in water, the ratio of H2O is 2 to 1. You got it? Okay, so if the ratio is 2 to 1, then if this letter is 6, what is the letter here? That means if there are 6 hydrogen, then how many oxygen should there be? Lò Phong Kinh, how many?
3.
3, thank you, thank you. Now, I'll give you a challenging task. All of you pay attention. And there are many different types. Examples. Now, I'll give you one very important example. Very important. His name is glucose. Glucose is actually an example of carbohydrates. Now, there is carbon, right? Here, carbon. And with water, H&O. In glucose, there are 6 carbon, 12 hydrogens. Then, how many oxygens should there be? I ask a girl. Lò Wai Kỳ, how many oxygens should there be?
6.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes, 6. Okay. Although I asked you, no need to remember so many chemical formula. However, this one, please bear that in mind. C6H12O6. You need to go through it again and again in different chapters. Okay. So this is glucose. Actually, glucose is almost the basic unit, or you can say the building unit of carbohydrates. Okay, this is the simplest form of carbohydrates. Okay, bear that in mind. Okay, now turn to page 8 of your textbook. I would like to highlight some important content first. Now, carbohydrate, okay, don't say don't write the letter N, okay. And carbohydrates, because there is carbon, they are organic substances, okay. And please bear that in mind, made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And I want you to remember this important carbohydrates. Now, the chemical formula of glucose is C6H12O6. Always bear that in mind. C6H12O6. However, when you go through this one, wow, Miss Lam, what it is? Okay, actually, for this part, no need to learn it. If you have to learn it, you are now in Form 4 or above in your chemistry, okay? For biology, no need to learn it, okay? You just remember this one, C6H12O6, that's enough. Okay, next, since I just told you, okay, there are many different types. And for science subjects, we use different terms to present them in a clear way, very clear. You see this term, you understand something first. Okay, now I want to call you some daily example first. Okay, now this one, you should have write it in your, okay, maybe 3 or 5 years old, okay, around that time. What's the name of these tools? Let's see one, what is it? This one.
Bicycle.
Exactly. Thank you. Bicycle. Okay, actually, I can split this word into 2 parts. Bicycle. Cycle means something turn around, repeat and repeat. Turn around, repeat and repeat. So here are 2 tires turning around. So we call it bicycles. Bi means two. Okay. Now, before riding the bicycles, I guess most of you wrote this one first. Here are 3 cycles. So can you tell me the name of this one? Now, there are 2 cycles. By. So, you know, any prefix, whenever you saw that, you know that it refers to 3. So may I ask one of you, Zheng Xingoi, please try. What is it? Whenever you saw this group of words, you know that there are 3. Think of mathematics. Mathematics.
Triangle.
Triangle. So 3 angles, we call them triangle. 3 cycles. So what is this one?
Tricycle.
Exactly. Okay, tricycle. Okay, you get it? Now you saw this one. You see TRI, you know that there must be 3. You got it? So today, I'm going to introduce you some prefix similar to this one. Okay, you saw by means 2, okay? Tri means 3. Now, means 1. 1, you will use this one. M-O-N-O, mono. Now, bear that in mind. Mono means 1. 2. Of course, here you will see bicycle. Bi means 2. Actually, di also refer to 2. Di. Okay, 3 is tri. Okay, and then for biologists, we won't have 3 or 4 or 5 and so on. Okay, in this year at least in Form 3. We jump to next one. Poly. Poly means many, many, many. Okay, remember this. In the coming organic substances, you will keep meeting mono, di, poly, tri. You will read this, and then in the coming lessons, I won't explain any of these terms because I expect you to know, okay, this 1, 2, 3, and so many, okay? Now, I link this word to the actual term you have to use. You have to learn, okay? Page 8, actually, page 8. Now, there are many different types of carbohydrates. Types. Now you can underline. Mono means 1. Saccharide. This word is read it as saccharide. K sound here, saccharide. This part means sugar. It's a single sugar. There is only 1 sugar. And then you look at the diagram. Okay, only 1. This one is a sugar. The next one, di. Di means 2. Okay, 2. Saccharide means sugar again. Now here are 2 sugar. They link together. Wow, the next one, the last one. So many. So that's why I say poly. Poly means many. Many sugar linked together, they will form polysaccharide. The size is much larger. Okay, larger. And then it's made of many thousands of monosaccharide here. Okay. Now here you see the example. Glucose is here. And then now for these diagrams, I just want you to note that there are different sizes of monosaccharide. Only 1 monosaccharide, 2 disaccharide, many polysaccharide. And the next, now you have to learn each of them one by one. Now these 3 are the types here. types. Now I'm going to tell you example, characteristics, reaction functions, and test method. Okay, test methods. Okay, I will start with monosaccharide. This is the simplest one. Now you are still on page 8. Page 8, monosaccharide. I just want you to highlight this one, monosaccharide. And then you just understand the terms I'm going to tell you later. Later, I tell you where exactly in your textbooks I want you to study hard. Okay? I repeat, now you just pay attention of some terms, the contents, and then later I tell you which part of the textbook you have to highlight and then study hard there. Okay, now, first of all, there are example. Example is here. Okay, there are glucose, fructose, and galactose. You have to remember all these examples, okay? There are 3 examples, and they have common features, common characteristics. Soluble in water. That means they can dissolve in water. Dissolve in water, okay? And they can taste sweet. Glucose, the Chinese term, 葡萄糖, glucose, okay? They are the sugar in your blood. Okay, sugar in your blood, and they taste sweet. When you were a baby, okay, you are newborn, your mother wants you to drink more water. Usually, the mother will add glucose to it. Okay, it's the simple form of sugars, and then you can absorb it directly. Okay, babies can handle it. The newborns can handle it. Okay, next, you have to know their functions. Now, glucose is very important. Here, separately mentioned in this textbook. Okay, they give us energies. Okay, I'm now talking. I talk a lot. I have to use energies. Okay, you're now jotting notes on your notebook, right? You need energies. Your heart pump the blood need energies. Okay, every activities in your bodies need energy, right? And then the energy is produced in respirations. Okay, you have learned it in your form 2, right? And then produce energies. And then in this process, you have to use glucose. And also monosaccharides are the building block to build other larger molecules. Okay, I have to explain this with this diagram again. This one, this is the building block. Build a larger one, okay? Thousands of them linked together form the bigger one. Okay, just like you are doing Legos, okay? You build a castle from the blocks, the smallest blocks of Legos, okay? So this glucose is very important. Then you build a larger one. Okay. And then since it is very important, you have to know how to test for it. The test method. Okay, now I'm going to introduce you to test method for glucose. You may think, wow, glucose, although so important, how come you get 2 methods? Now, actually, among these 2 methods, the first method only for glucose. And the second method for a type of sugar. Now, all the carbohydrates are sugar. For one group, we call them reducing sugar. Now, the term is here. Again, no need to highlight in this part. I just draw those important terms, okay? And reducing sugar. If your English is good enough, you will know the meaning of reduce, okay? For example, oh, bad news to you, your mother reduced your pocket money, okay? Reduce, that means you cut down something. Okay, however, in this one, for biology, reducing doesn't mean you decrease some value. No, that is not correct. That is about something related to chemical reactions. However, You are now in Form 3. I will not explain any to you. And at least you have to learn chemistry and then up to Form 4 or 5. Remember Form 5. Then we'll know what reducing is. Okay, so you're not Form 3, you don't have much chemistry background, so I won't explain it to you. So just remember it. All the monosaccharides are reducing sugar. And the first method only tests for glucose. The second method tests for reducing sugar. And it happens that glucose is also a reducing sugar. So you can test for glucose with two methods. Now I want to jump to the test. Turn to your textbook, page 11. Page 11. Now I give you 2 minutes. Read through the procedure. Go. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to test for glucose with this method. Okay, this method is called glucose test strips. It's a glucose test using glucose test strips. Okay, now strips is a small piece of paper. Okay, now first of all, note the procedures. Number 1, okay, note the color of dry glucose test strips. Later I will show you. And then next, add a drop of glucose solutions to a well of a spot plate. Spot plate is shown here. Okay, there are many different wells. Okay, wells is a place that curves downwards. It forms a space that can hold some liquid. Okay, this is well. Okay, these are wells. Okay, next, dip the strip into the solutions, and then remove it immediately. And then next, observe the color change. Okay, of course, we have to do the control setup. Okay, the control setup is to replace glucose with distilled water. Okay, now I show you what they are. Wait. Okay, first of all, as I just mentioned, you know the procedure number 1. Procedure number 1. Wait. Okay. Now, this is the paper strips. Now, I got the strip from this bottle. Okay. Okay, I take out one for you. This is the strip. Okay, please mark down the color of the strips on your textbook. Mark it on procedure number 1. Note the color of the strip, okay? Note the color of strip. Okay, this one should be pink, right? Okay, you write it on your textbook. Okay, procedure number 2. Procedure number 2. I have to add glucose solutions. Now the beakers contain glucose solutions. And then I have to put it on the spot plate. Now this is the spot plate. Okay, these are wells. Okay, these are wells. I can put liquid inside. Now, I show you, I put drops of glucose solution into it. Okay, glucose solutions. Next, now I go to procedure number 3. I dip the strips into glucose solutions and then put aside immediately. Please note the color change. It turns purple. Okay, it turns purple. It turns from pink to purple, then this is glucose solutions. Glucose solutions. Okay, of course, we have to do the control setup. Distill water. Okay, distill water, please. Okay, now I show you a bottle of this one is distilled water. Okay, hold the distilled water when we do experiment. Now I add some distilled water into another well. I add here. Wow, so much. And then I take another strips. I take another strip, the pink one. Put it, dip it into the distilled water. And then I have to wait. Please check. There is no color change. Right? No color change. If it is glucose, it turns purple. Okay? Distilled water, there's no color change. So this is a good test method telling you that the solution is glucose. Okay? Now this is the first method. Okay, now we go to another method. Okay, now we go to method number 2. Now, turn to page 12. Page 12. Now, this one is a bit more complicated. A bit more complicated. Now, again, I give you 2 minutes. Read through the procedure first. Label. Okay, now please read procedure 1 to 5. Okay, let's discuss a little bit. Now, I just said this one is a bit more complicated than the test strip paper for glucose only. Now, first of all, bear that in mind. This is testing for reducing sugar. And then the name of this test, you have to remember the name. It is called Benedict's test. Please note, you must start with the capital letters. It's the name of a scientist. Okay, Benedict's test. He thought of this way, so this is his test. Okay. And then in the test, I need 2 test tubes. Okay, A and B. And then for the A, I add glucose solution to A. And then again, we need control setup, right? So the control one is distilled water. Okay, I add distilled water to test tube B. Next, the reagent you need to use in this experiment is the Benedict's solution. Benedict's solutions. You add Benedict's solution into it and then shake them gently. No need to shake too vigorously, okay? until they mix well. And then this one, why I said it is more complicated, because you have to put them in a boiling water bath for some time, And then if you are careful enough, you want perfect results, you have to shake the tubes at intervals, okay? Maybe every minute you go and shake it, and then later observe the color change. Okay, observe the change. Now I'm going to show you this one. Now, again, I'm now showing you practical 2.2, okay? Let me show you the camera first. Okay. Now, here are two test tubes. Okay, test tube A and B. Okay, now, this is the Benedict solutions. It is blue in color, light blue, very beautiful, okay? But harmful, okay? It's very beautiful. And then according to the textbook procedure number 2, I have to add glucose solution into test tube A, okay? Now I add 2 ml of it into test tube A. Okay, this is glucose solutions. And then next, I have to add distilled water into test tube B. I use this bottle again. I add distilled water. Okay. Now, we have glucose in A, distilled water in B. Next, go to procedure number 3. We have to add Benedict solution to it. Benedict solution. And then we have to mix it well. Similarly, I also need to add Benedict solution to the control setup. It contains distilled water, okay? So yeah, mix it well. So next, we go to procedure 4. Procedure 4, we have to put them in boiling water bath. Now, show you the water bath next to it. Okay, and the book said that we have to wait for 5 minutes. Okay, actually the water is boiling. Okay, you can see the steam coming out. Okay, the water is moving. So we have to wait, okay? So we go back to the content first. Okay, now, later show you the results. But anyway, now these are the 2 tests for glucose and reducing sugars. So I just keep mentioning that, okay, this part, and you just hear, you just understand what I talk, and then I don't ask you to highlight any. Actually, there is a part on your textbook that show all the contents you have to learn very clearly. Now turn to page 24. Page 24. You turn to your textbook, page 24, you can see this summary, chapter summary. Okay, now I go through the content with you again. And this part is the part I really want you to remember all, okay, all of them. And then of course, you have to amend a little bit, some of it. Now, carbohydrates, of course, you know that they are organic substances, okay? Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. And I want you to add here, glucose is C6H12O6. C6H12O6. Okay, today we have learned the green one, monosaccharide. monosaccharide. Okay, and monosaccharide with these characteristics, they are the simplest form, soluble in water, and taste sweet, and all are reducing sugars. And the examples include glucose, fructose, and galactose. Glucose, fructose, and galactose. And we have learned the functions of monosaccharide. Go to point number 7. Point number 7. Glucose can be directly broken down in cells during respirations to release energy. Today we have gone through here, and also today we have done 2 tests for carbohydrates. The first one, for the glucose, we use glucose test strips, right? There is a distinctive color change. Okay, I want you to write here again. It turns from pink to purple. Pink to purple. And another test for reducing sugar. The name of the test is called Benedict's test. And then bear that in mind in the table. All, I use the red one. All monosaccharides are reducing sugar. All of them are reducing sugar. Okay, so 5 minutes passed already. Now we look at the results. Let's check the results of the Benedict's test. Now you turn back to page 12. Page 12. Can you see? Now, this one, tube A contains glucose. I put it aside first on the test tube rack. Tube B is the control setup, contains distilled water. Okay, now I want to show you what they are. Okay, sorry about that. Now, for the A, this one. If there is reducing sugar, it mixes and then we add with Benedict solutions and give something like this. Now, please note that, of course, there is distinctive color change. There is color change, okay? The original one is blue. Now it turns, someone may think that it is red, not too red. Orange, not too orange, okay? We call them brick red. Bricks are the building blocks of some house, okay? A rectangular block. Also, the government used it to cover the pavement, okay, the bricks. And if there are no reducing sugars, the Benedict solution remain unchanged in color, Okay, and also please note, the Benedict solution is very clear, okay. You can see now there is a spot. Now I look you, this one. Here is a black mark on the bench, okay. I put the test tube here. You can see the mark. I'll show you the mark here. The solution is very clear. Okay. However, if there is reducing sugar and then we test it, I'll show you. You cannot see it. The solution is not clear. Actually, some solid has been formed. And then making the solution unclear. These solids are called precipitate. Okay, now we go back to the textbook. Now go back to page 24. The one that is unclear, the solid form is this one. We call them precipitate. What seems difficult? No, you just read it correctly and then you know how to spell it correctly. Precipitate. precipitates, okay, precipitates. And the color of these precipitates, we call them brick red, brick red. Brick is those rectangular block covering the pavement in Hong Kong, okay. The government designed some patterns, okay. You can see some different patterns made of bricks, different colors, and give you different patterns on the pavement. Quite beautiful, okay. So when you saw brick red precipitates, then there must be reducing sugar, and all the monosaccharides are reducing sugar, reducing sugar. Actually, I have talked a lot, okay, a lot of contents. Okay, let me summarize the lessons again, okay. Go to the first page. Now we are on chapter 2, okay. We learn different types of molecules, and then we know that molecules are forming the chemical constituents of the bodies. Okay, let me choose another color. I choose the purple one. Okay, now chemical constituents are made of different molecules. And then it depends on the features. Those contain carbons, we call them organic substances. And living in the bodies, they are found in living bodies, we call them biomolecules. Without carbon, inorganic. And then we have to learn all these substances found in living things detailedly. In the last lessons, we finished waters. Today, we focus on carbohydrates, but carbohydrates are a big groups of chemical substances, and then we cannot finish all. We just finished one group of them, and then next you have to learn in the carbohydrates, you have to learn what elements form them. Here, the CHNO, okay? And then you have to remember glucose, C6H12O6. Okay, you have learned types. 1 glucose, monosaccharide. 2 glucose, disaccharide. Many glucose, polysaccharide. Okay, and then we have learned examples. Now you should know what characteristics. Okay, at least you know that they are soluble in water, right? They are sweet in taste. Okay, that is characteristics. And today we have only learned 1 types of carbohydrate. So this part, the chemical reaction, not yet done. Okay, but you know the function of glucose give us energy through respirations. And you have learned 2 test methods. Okay, the test strips and the Benedict's test. Okay, and for the book, page 8, I have highlighted some of it, and actually I didn't highlight any. Okay, didn't highlight any because the table on page 24 is far better. Okay, but we have done 2.1, the glucose test strip, and 2.2, the Benedict's test. Okay, don't worry. Some of you, I know that you want to do the test yourself, okay? When the normal school resumes, I will let you do it again. Okay? Today, just a demonstrations, okay, demonstrations. And then your role, please study hard for the content shown on page 24. Okay, today I just finished monosaccharide, but you have, the content has spread through all these points, okay? The function, the test methods, the characters, and the examples. Okay, so just tell you first, after the next lessons, okay, in the next lessons, I'm sure that I can finish disaccharide, polysaccharide, and then I will give you a quiz. Okay, so any questions about today's content? Any questions? No? Okay, thank you. Okay, and I will meet you again, not this week. Wow, next Wednesday. Okay, see you on next Wednesday. Okay, that's the end of this class. Okay, dismiss.